Hey everyone, Paul here. Today I'm going to go over this is going to be kind of like a case study kind of thing. I'm going to make a couple videos. I've already made a couple videos about it, but I'm going to go over kind of a compounding effect that you can do by trading Walmart stock. What we're going to go over today is kind of where it can lead you over time if this is executed properly. So the goal of this strategy is to look at the Walmart stock, become an option trader, look at the Walmart stock, determine the price. Now your goal is to find $1 difference every single week. So if you find a $1 difference every single week, that will be, we'll have to look at the numbers later on, but that should be about a 25% increase. If you start with a balance here of, let's say, $400, and you make 25% off that, that's 100. So in the beginning, it's not going to be like much. And before the strategy to work, you have to take your balance and kind of become an option trader. And every week, look at the price and find $1 every week. $1 every week will result into a 25% increase because when you first start out and you have enough to do one contract, $1 difference will give you $100. So that's a 25% increase. So what I'm going to do today is show you where this will lead over time. If done properly, we're going to look at compound daily, and we're going to look at how $400 where that can lead over time, and where that can lead if you compounded it over time. And the whole goal of this strategy here is to find $1, $1 difference every single week, every week by becoming an option trader. So real quickly, we're going to look at the compounding results, and then we're going to look at some basics on how to kind of get in the range of what Walmart's doing every week. Basically, when you start out, if you start out with, say, $400, because I think $400 is like the bare minimum, you have to shop around for prices and all when you're doing your, you buy week out contracts. But basically, if you start out with $400 and you make 25% of that, that's $100. So basically, how you get that $100 if you find $1 difference. So basically, you look at Walmart's price and you find a $1 difference in price every single week. So every single week, you're increasing by 25%, basically. And that's basically what you do with this strategy in the beginning. So we look at the compound results here. Now, you can go and punch these numbers in yourself. You can punch in your own numbers if you want. But you start off with $400. Your increase is 25%, but this is not on daily. This is weekly. They don't have it for weekly. So when we look at these numbers, these are going to be based off of weekly, even though the statistics here are saying daily. We'll be able to tell how much it'll grow in a week. So we're going to look at, let's just change this to 52. There's like, 52 weeks in a year. We'll look at what happens in a year, basically. 100% reinvesting, which means whatever you make in gains, you reinvest. You don't include the weekends because the stock market is not open. So we're going to calculate. And we're going to see that the $400 in the beginning. So you started off with $400. And then the first day of doing it, you make $100. That's a 25% increase. Now, each of these, keep in mind, these are daily. Even though they say day, these are going to be weekly results. These are not daily results. These are going to be weekly results. The goal here is to find $1 difference in price every single week. Even though this says day, just keep in mind that this is weekly results. So the first time you do this in the first week, you get 25%. You turn your $400 and you make $500. Your passive income now is about $100. Week 2, you take your additional gains that you made in the last week, and your principal is 165 around there. But if you do the same thing in week 2, you take your full balance and you find a $1 difference in the Walmart price. Will give you about 125, or around. See, yeah, for it all depends, but this is not exact numbers, but you get the general idea here. You're basically taking your principal, which is an estimate. If you started off with 400 and you made 500, and then that 500 will turn into, it should turn to maybe 625. These numbers aren't exact, but keep in mind, whatever you make in your gains, it'll be 25% every single week. Every single week you have to find a dollar difference, and that should lead into a 25% increase every week. To go from your balance, 25% will lead into these numbers. Because if you use your entire balance, that's what will happen. So this is week 3. Week 3, if you keep finding a dollar difference, you'll be at 781. But your balance will grow to about 781. Your passive income will be about 156 a week. Week 4, your principal balance would grow to about 1,000. Your earnings per week are about 195, so you're making about $200 a week. And so let's just fast forward here to about this is 2 months right now. This is 2 months of doing it. This is 2 months of doing Walmart, finding a dollar difference. You'll make about $300 a week in 2 months. If you keep doing it, if you keep going into Walmart and buying your week contracts and finding a $1 difference every week, that'll lead into $300 a week. So let's just fast forward into 9 weeks. 9 weeks was about 3 months. You're at about $600 a week now. You're about if you continues to find a $1 difference in price every single week, you'll get to $600 a week, which basically that's in 3 months you'll make a full-time salary from this if you do it successfully. So let's real quickly just look at 12 weeks. 12 weeks you'll be looking at about 1,164. That's if you go into Walmart stock, find a dollar difference in price, and make about 25% a week of your capital. Not every week is going to be this, but let's real quickly just go here into some numbers. Let's look at 30 weeks. So in 30 weeks from the time of starting it, that's 30 weeks of finding a $1 difference, making a 25%. You will grow your earnings per week will be about $64,000 a week. But let's real quick, that's half a year right there. That's about half a year. In about half a year doing it and being successful at it, you'll be making about $64,000 a week, and your initial $400 will have grown to about $323,000. Let's just see what happens in a year of doing this. If you're successful at doing this for a year, 52 weeks. 52 weeks, your earnings will be $8 million. Oh, $8 million a week. That's kind of hard to believe. $8 million a week, and your capital has grown to quite a bit right there. So anyway, that's kind of the challenge. It's to do this on a weekly. Start with a small balance. Find a dollar difference every single week. Find a dollar difference every single week and get an increase of about 25%. So real quickly, that's the compounding results. That's just an estimate. It all depends on how well you are as a trader. But real quickly, let's just look at the Walmart stock and kind of get a good idea of how to accomplish this, I'm going to turn these off real quick and just look at this basically on the candles. We're going to look at this on a weekly. Now, I do not recommend doing this on a weekly. Do not do this. Do not base your trades off the weekly. You kind of want to scale out. So I've already made the marks, but if you go back and you look, you see the most recent top here was about $100. So it has to get past $100 to be more bullish. There's a lot of resistance at 100, so it hasn't really been able to get past that. It did briefly a while back. So your resistance right now is about 101. So you know that if it reaches about 101, most likely it might reject it until it does. And there's support around here, around 93.64. So we know the range. So all we really have to do is look at the candles, and when they're moving, we basically want to enter. We basically want to enter puts when it gets close here. When we want to enter calls when it gets close here. But in between here, that's when you really have to be careful. Remember, you're trying to find a dollar difference. Now, if you're trying to find a dollar difference, here, you don't have to find the contracts are going to be for a week, and the contracts will be for a week. You'll buy them for a week out, but you don't have to wait for a dollar. You can do, let's just give you some ideas. Just a couple ideas. If you caught this move here, just green candles here, from here to here, this is 0.43, so this is 43 cents. So this is 43 cents on one day, and then on another day you can get, let's just say you catch this one right here. This one would be, 20, 30 cents. So you can catch small amounts of it. You don't have to wait for a dollar, but it'd be nice if you find it. But you don't, just because you're buying your week contract does not mean you have to hold it out for a week. I made that mistake in the beginning. I just waited it out. But basically, you can get them in. You can split them up into 5 days. You can look for 0.20 5 times a week, or you can look for bigger amounts. But when it comes down to it, you just want to average out to $1 a week. $1 a week will result into a 25% increase. Now, these are just estimates. If you find $1 difference in price every single week, that should lead into a 25% increase. And judging it by those numbers and the compounding results, that's where it will lead you over time. Now, to make this compound fast, like we saw on the compound calculator, you would have to use your entire balance in order to grow it that fast. So, unfortunately, if you want to see those numbers, that's kind of what you would have to do. You could set goals for yourself at certain numbers, and if you're comfortable at making a certain amount, you can stop. You don't have to keep putting in your entire balance for this, but for the snowball to start going in the beginning, 25% would be a pretty good. And then again, you can start with 25, and then once it gets going, you don't really have to look for that dollar difference. You can tone it down a bit, and you can go to 50 cents, things like that, once you get the snowball rolling. But anyway, I'm going to be going over this, kind of starting it up myself and seeing what the results are going to be. And obviously, I'm not, if it compounds to a lot, I'm going to stop at a certain point. But I'm just doing this for you guys to get the general idea of how this works. A couple videos to see how it goes, and see the compounding effect, and after that, I think you guys will get the general idea. So I'll probably be making a couple more videos on this just to show you it in motion and it happening in real time. So I'll be starting that out. I'll be starting Walmart trades next week, and we'll see how it goes. But anyway, guys, like this video. This is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. Do your own research. Anyway, if you like this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'll see you guys in future videos.